to introduce the biometrics, and I just say, Luke and Kelly, welcome to the screen. Bring it on. Up on stage. Thank you guys for being here.
I thought. Hey. Morning, everyone.
Whoa. There you go. That's better. Too exciting.
Just going to tidy up.
Morning, everyone. That wasn't very good, was it? Good morning, everyone. That's better. Excellent. Our session is going to be about vertical and horizontal superstores. Who was in our session last year? Put your hands up. Oh, so you kind of know what's going to happen.
Very good. Very good.
Those people that weren't in our session last year, be ready for, well, I'm not going to give it away.
No.
Good. So before we get started, let me just introduce my team a little bit. We have a new starter working with us called Kate, who you will find on our stall downstairs. You will also find extremely tons of really funky merchandise. So come and see us down there. And my name's Luke. I set up MadeYou about 9 years ago with Kelly, and we are a people development business.
I'm Kelly on that one there. I always prefer my avatar because there's far fewer wrinkles. So Luke and I, 10 years ago, this year is our anniversary later in the year. I'm really excited for that. Haven't got anything planned yet, but we will. And where is he? Richard. At the back of the room, give us a wave. Hello, Richard. Richard has been with us for 5 years, I think, now, and he's our other trainer and coach. So you will get to speak with him as we go through this morning. Okay, ready? Everybody, can you stand up for me? And this is where the iGaming people get really annoyed with me. I'd like you, first of all, to put your chairs to the sides, please, or the back.
Get rid of all the chairs.
Out of the way. Keep your badges. Your badges are very important. Put your chairs to one side. Chairs. Take your badge with you. Make sure you keep hold of your badge. Your badge is very important this morning.
Just dump the chairs somewhere.
And move the chairs,
Just get them away. Hey.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Keep your badges. Badges very important. Told you to get through the time. More chairs to be moved. Come on, team. Let's move the chairs.
There's a lonely handbag in the middle of the room. No dancing around it.
Viviana, come on. Chairs, there's a few chairs left. If you can move the chairs out of the way, please. Anybody, if it wasn't your chair, move the chairs.
Fantastic.
Very good. Right.
Ready?
Ready.
Cool.
Okay, so if we're all back on, focus on me for a moment. There was a gentleman called Lawrence Peter who came up with this principle. The Peter principle states that if you perform well in your job, you are likely to be promoted to the next level of your organization's hierarchy. You'll continue to rise up the ladder until you reach a point where you can no longer perform well. What I want you to do, if you agree, make a column here. If you partially agree, in the middle here. If you don't agree, over here. 3, 2, 1, go. With energy.
I'm the agree.
I'm partially agree. And over here, I disagree. Huh? Hey, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, good point.
We're in the mirror. If you agree, you're over here. Thank you very much. Well done, young man. Thank you.
Oh, the slide.
Partially agree in the middle. There's a mirror going on. And over here, if you're with like Luke and disagreeable, come here.
Any disagrees? There seems to be a lot of partialies.
Luke, quite a few partialies.
Everybody in the back,
put your hand up if you're a partial. Put your hand up so I can tell where you are.
Nice.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. And over here, we've got some that fully agree.
Nice. So at MadeYou, we partially agree as well. So we agree with the people in the middle of the room. We do believe that you will probably be promoted within your career network because of your skill set and your performance there. But we don't agree with the last bit because it's a point of failure. So you're really going to get to a point where you're actually no longer performing your role, and that's it. So this is kind of what we're going to explore a little bit today, is how we can put more investment in them so that last part of the sentence isn't true. We don't have that point of failure. I want you to look around the room and I want you to find a partner who you don't know. So Heidi already set the precedent that we should be talking to people we don't know. I want you to find a partner who you don't know.
When you found your partner, use the whole room. Oh, I've got... Oh, I can't say it. Are we... Oh. Everybody found a partner. Everybody found a partner.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you found a partner, I want you to make use of the room because you're going to talk to each other.
Spread out, use the space in the room.
Spread out and use the space. Grab a chair if you want the chair, but take your partner with you.
Da-da-da. When do we do
Get their
batteries?
attention. Get their attention again.
Okay, if you can hear me once, clap. If you can hear me twice, clap twice. If you can hear me 3 times, clap 3 times. Very good. Very good. It'll get better as we go on, I promise.
So these are the 4 bullet points that I want you to discuss with your partner. So please share the information with each other. So out of all the things that you are good at, what 2 to 3 things are you particularly good at? What do you think your main development area is in dealing with colleagues outside of your own department? And what could they do to make it easier to work with them? And then the crucial part of the conversation you're going to have is, what makes a superstar for you? What do you believe makes a superstar performer? So you've got about 5 minutes to do this. It's going to get very loud in the room, so you might want to make use of the space, but make sure you're sharing information with each other.
Use the whole space. There's a big gap. Okay, team, off you go.
Go for it.
Go for it. We still mic.
Hi, you all right?
Yeah, last year. Get up where the questions come. Volume coming through.
Can he stay next to you or not?
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah. Oh, no. God knows, we've been doing this for years. It has to be opposite sides. So thank you.
No, because you have the projector in your face.
I know.
Stay here for the photos.
No.
Couple of minutes left, everyone. Two minutes left. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Are we going to give them their badges first, otherwise they're just going to be standing there waiting? Or should we get them to sit down, or what?
Come here.
Give them their badges first. We don't want them sitting down, do we?
We'll get them in their badge group. So can you do that when you go through the next slide?
Yeah.
And I'll get Richard to do Roman right now.
Ready? Clap once if you can hear me. Clap twice if you can hear me. And clap 3 times if you can hear me. Very good. Good job. Come on, team.
Right. I hope you found that very interesting. But Richard wants to know some information from some of the people in the room. So, Richard, can you go to someone and let's find out what they believe makes an employee a superstar?
Cool. So reporting from the audience, we have Roxanne and Graziella.
I think it's someone who is very passionate, because I think that's the key to doing well in your job, and someone who is very motivated.
Nice.
Nice, thank you.
We discussed it together. So.
Okay, I'll move around the room. So let's go here. We have Isilda.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Okay, I think it's caring. I mean, when you care for someone, when you care for the company, I think it brings the element of family. So I think it's a. When I see that, I think that it's a superstar, definitely.
Nice.
Nice. One more, Richard.
One more. Let's go over here. Balbina.
Well, first you have to have a brains, I think. That helps. But I also think it has to be the right circumstances, right motivation, and right passion.
Nice.
Very good.
Nice. Back at you with the stage.
Thank you very much, Richard. Right, team. Now, when you walked in, you had on your seat a coloured badge. Has everybody got their coloured badge? If you've already pinned it on, that's okay. What I want you to do, first of all, if you didn't have a badge, it's okay, because you'll get into your own group, you're badgeless, but you're still part of the family this morning. I'd like you to get into your groups based on your coloured badge, please.
White's over here. Red's over here. There should be reds, yellows, whites, blacks, blues, and greens.
Purple. What's next? Oh.
You should get them to sit down.
Do you think?
Well, yeah, because we've got a few slides.
Okay, yeah. I think. Once you've found your groups, lovely people, I want you to find a chair and sit in your groups.
Sit in your groups.
Find
Put
your
on a
group,
chair, get
grab a
comfortable.
chair and sit down in your groups.
Grab chairs, sit in your groups.
Very good, very good. Hustle, 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 hustle.
Be boy or girl?
Find your group, find a chair, sit down together.
What colour have we got over here? What colour? Black over here.
Excellent. Well done.
Black badges over
Thank
here.
you, yellow. Excellent, good man.
White badges. Where are the reds?
Find your groups.
Where are the reds? Reds are here. Over there. Yellows, where's the yellows? Hey,
Yellows over
hi,
here.
yellows. What? Yeah, you can sit like that, perfect. Nice, make sure you're with your coloured badges.
Rightio, nearly there. Everybody take your seat as quickly as you can. It's like boarding a Ryanair flight. Cram you all on and take your seats as swiftly as you can.
What colour? Black. Black. Is there any more blacks in the room? Black badges over there.
Over there?
Yes. Got white badges over here, yellow badges, black badges, red badges, I think. And the bluey purple, where's the bluey purple? Bluey purple over there.
Yes, go for it. Oop. Okay. Anne, you look lost. Black, 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 black. Where are the black badges?
Where's the black badges?
Back left.
Back left. Where's the bluey purple?
Very good
over
over there.
there.
Excellent.
Where's the yellows? Yellows? Oh, I thought you were white.
No, yellows.
Bad
white.
eyesight. Where's
White
white?
here.
Hey! Where's the greens?
Very
Hey! I think that's it.
good. That's it.
Cool. Right,
Right.
Reds, where's the reds? There you are.
Very good. So, team, back in the room. Back in the room. This is how we define what goes on with superstars. The ability to deliver objectives. Attitudes and behaviors, for me, personally, this is a key part of being a superstar. I can train an awful lot. Right behaviors and attitudes come as part of the individual. Collaborative, prepared to work across teams. Come on, team, take your seats. We're on a schedule here. It's because of Heidi. Productive in helping others to achieve, and proactive in helping the business to deliver.
Cool. Nice. So kind of agree with a lot of what was already said when we were roaming around the room. It's not just about thinking about people who have the passion and the drive to proceed in their career. It's more the people that have the passion and the drive just as human beings. And then as managers and HRs, we can really, really tap into that and start facilitating growth. Nice. Hello, ladies and gents. Yeah? You wanted to be close to me. Hey. What colour? Purple. Nice. Good. Just wait for the purples. Purpley blue. Ooh. Cool. At MadeYou, we're probably not fans of putting people into boxes because everyone should be treated like a unique individual. And I think over the period of the next hour we've got together, we're going to break down some of that kind of looking at people as individuals and start thinking about this. But just to give some parameters of thinking about growth from a horizontal and vertical point of view, I want to start thinking about people in 5 particular boxes. So when I describe a box, I'm going to ask if you think yourself in general, sit in this box. So we obviously have a box that are individuals who consistently fail to meet expectations, what we would classify as low performers. Does anyone feel they identify in general with this box? Put your hand up. Please don't.
It's the right answer.
That would have been very worrying. We then have the next box. So in general, there are individuals that are due to specific reasons have not met all the expectations of their role due to specific reasons. This might just be because they're a new joiner. It might be because there were system issues. It might be because there was line manager issues, but they haven't met their expectations and they're just below. So it's what we would call a developing performer. So in general, not for specific situations, but in general, is there anyone that feels that they sit in this category? Put your hands up.
Very
Nice. Good.
Honest answers.
Right, my favorite category, the Steady Eddie. I love Steady Eddies. I think they are the bread and butter of our organization. Somebody who comes into our organization, into a job role, they do exactly what you expect them to do. They clock in when they're supposed to clock in, they clock out, they don't do any more, they don't do any less, they do exactly what you want them to do, and they probably stay in a business for a very long time. Is there any Steady Eddies in the room? Nice. Good. Don't be frightened. Put your hand up on this one. I love a Steady Eddie. Love a Steady Eddie. We then have our top steadies who just go a little bit further. So they don't want that kind of career progression. They just want to do the best that they can in the job role. So they might stay a little bit later now and again to help out with workload. They might collaborate and support other people. They do a little bit more than what's expected of their job role, but within the parameters of what they're able to do. So this is what we call a top steady. Is there any top steadies in the room?
Yeah, top steady is very
right.
good. Love a top steady.
Nice. And then our final category is the outperformer overachiever. The person who consistently exceeds all the expectations of the role. They go above and beyond against the parameters of their role. They're working with other people. They're getting involved in this. They're helping here, all within their role and outside of their role as well. Typically, the people who are asking, when's that job going on the board? Because I'm so eager to get, what can I learn? What can I learn? So do we have any outperformers in the room? Put your hand up if you're an outperformer. There's nothing wrong with being an outperformer.
I can't
Everyone's
believe
a bit
you're being
nervous.
shy. Yeah, there you go. Come on. Put your hands up.
Come
Own it.
on. We must have some outperformers in the room because you're at a conference today, so it's definitely outperforming. So, when you're thinking about these kind of particular columns, I want you to really start thinking about horizontal and vertical growth. Typically, with outperformers, we tend to understand how to support these people best because this is the natural progression that we went through our career. We became a team leader, we became a manager, we're now ahead of our C-level. This is the career progression that we had, so we understand how to support it best. Outperformers tend to be, not exclusively, which we'll talk about in a second, but tend to be quite career focused. When's the next job role? How do I get a promotion? Want some more money? Want exposure? Want that job title? This is very much kind of the motivation. We put a lot of emphasis as managers and also within the business to support these people because we understand it. But our steady eddies and our top steadies also need growth and development. They're vital to our organization. They keep us going. They drive everything. They're amazing performers by the very nature of the categorization. So just because they're not knocking on your door and saying, I want this, I want this, I want that, which typically the outperformers will do, doesn't mean they don't want it. It just means they're not knocking on the door for it. So typically, if we start thinking about steady eddies and top steadies, we need to start thinking about horizontal growth. So there's some slight differences between outperformers and steady eddies. And for the purposes of this particular slide, Kelly's going to take the role of outperformer, and I'm going to take the role of steady eddy. But we all know it should be the other way around.
Possibly true.
So give us some insights into outperformers.
So quick and agile and they're disruptive. They'll question everything.
Whereas if I'm a steady eddy, I'm much more process-orientated, consistently kind of looking at things. Where's the process? Where's the procedure? And looking at incremental growth. Don't kind of wham me with it.
I'm always looking at the customer. How do we drive the customer more? Where do we get the growth? Where does the business focus?
And if I'm a steady, if you don't tell me what the target is, then I'm not going to have that kind of focus. So if you want me to do something, tell me it's part of the business target, and I'll point my energy there.
I'm just not knocking on your door. I've got a battering ram to ram your door in so I get that next career progression.
I'm more motivated by having a work-life balance. I go to Patcherville at night time and I don't want anyone ringing me saying, no, you must come to work and you've got to answer this question. So no, and then I go surfing and scuba diving at the weekend, so no.
I'm the one that keeps refreshing LinkedIn to see if the next job's been advertised because I need to apply.
No. I want you to tell me that I should apply and then tell me that I've got all the skills and you believe in me, and then I might consider it.
I'm the person that you need to keep in the business, and the only way I'm going to stay with you is by giving me the chance for longevity and development. Give me the job.
I'm gonna stay in the business if there's some kind of stability and I have the ability to progressively grow my skill set, but at the pace that I need to grow it along with the business. So we are some fundamental differences, and sometimes when we are an outperformer managing steadies, we forget there is such a characteristical difference that we need to really understand, not just in managing them and supporting them, but also in developing them as well.
New word, characteristical.
I love it.
Characteristical.
Great. So you all have your badges, yes? You all have your badges.
Not the badger. The joke didn't land. It's a badger. He can't say badges. I can say badges. He doesn't say. He says badgers.
It's my accent.
Falling out with you all now.
If I say badges or badges, it sounds exactly the same.
There we go.
Where's the blacks in the room? Excellent. Black badges at the back. And yellow badges. Fabulous. Purpley blue badges. Red badges. Perfect. Green badges. Nice. And white badges.
And those without a badge?
Anyone without a badge? No, Richard sorted it.
Excellent. Very good.
Cool.
Right. You can see on the screen, we have our outperformers. These are the guys that you need to talk to in your groups when you get into your colour-coordinated groups to discuss what it is you're going to do to develop them. How are you going to develop and motivate the outperformers, those that do not have a ceiling? Then the second group being those that maybe have a ceiling, but that's okay. We still need to look after them. These are the people Luke spoke about, the steadies. Whether they're a top steady or a steady eddy, they are the people that stay in your business, they work for you, and they're the ones that generally sit in the background quite quietly. But we need to pay attention to them to make sure we develop them. So the blues and the reds, I want you to think about how we're going to keep developing them horizontally. And the final ones are the steady eddies. They're inside a box, but they're fantastic. What we want to do is help to grow the box slightly. So how is it they work with a steady eddy to want to be able to develop more horizontally? So the next job is leave your chairs where you are and work in the groups that you're in, and you've got a few minutes to come up with some ideas. How are you going to develop these people horizontally, vertically, and out into a bigger box?
What ideas does your group
What ideas
have?
do you have?
So you have outperformers, the black badges and the yellows. You are looking at outperformers with no career ceiling. What investment opportunities could you give them to grow and develop them? The blue badges and the red badges, you are looking at outperformers, but there's nowhere to go. They have a ceiling. Either their boss is not moving anywhere or there's nowhere else to go. So outperformers, but with a ceiling, how are we going to develop them? And then the last group's white badges and green badges, you are looking at top performers, top steadies. How do we grow them even bigger than the role they are, not focused on career progression, horizontal?
Share your ideas.
So you've got about 10 minutes to work as a group, and Richard will come round with the roving mic, so make sure you have a spokesperson.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good conversations going on. Our roving reporter extraordinaire, Richard, is making his way around the groups now to get you to share your ideas.
Right, so black badges. You guys had outperformers, no ceiling.
Yes.
So what are you going to do with these outperformers with no ceiling, Graz?
All right. So definitely we need to reward and recognize, because they feel this need that their successes are highlighted. So that is one of the things, reward and recognition. As you said, outperformers tend to jump from one job to another because they feel that they can give more to the next company or to the next role. So Anaka came with this brilliant idea of setting a project, for example, for a year or 18 months. So like that, they feel kind of not constrained to stay within the business to work on the project, but at least they'll have a purpose and a motivation.
Very good.
I like that. That's a nice idea.
Yeah.
We set as well that for example, every annual review, they get, again, a recognition such as a change in job title, maybe a monetary reward, sending them to conferences. If you have different offices in different countries, you can send them in different countries to work with other teams in that country. Did I miss anything else, girls and guys?
Very good.
Nice. And what about the yellow group, Richard? They had the same scenario. Outperformers, no ceiling. Tyler.
I'm speaking. No.
You're not...
Not speaking.
So for the outperformers, we thought this is important to develop a personal approach and to give them coaching.
Yes.
Often outperformers want to tackle a lot of different challenges, so it is best to discuss so that they take on roles which best suit their skill set and end up benefiting the company more. Also, outperformers are the kind that can burn themselves out easily. So we put an importance on work-life balance and also coaching, so they put their energy into what they're good at. Also, to have a strategized approach which makes more sense for both the employee and the rest of the company. Also, and mentoring, so we mentor and see maybe they're not happy with this challenge, we give them another one, and also that they can mentor other people, as these are often highly motivated and can give some of their energy to support the group.
Very
Nice.
good. Lovely.
I like
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you very
good.
much.
Well done. Yeah.
Nice. Blue badges or purple badges. If you're colorblind, it's blue. You guys had the outperformers, but there is a ceiling. So what are we going to do with outperformers with a ceiling?
Come on then, Anne.
Come on, Anne.
So we spoke about understanding where their gap, maybe doing a gaps analysis, and then understanding where their strengths are, working on those strengths. Maybe we spoke about then understanding where they want to specialize in their area and maybe grow horizontally and grow within, specialize in their role. We also discussed the importance of constant communication, because we know that these scenarios can very much lead to someone becoming very frustrated and no longer motivated or engaged. So constant communication, and then having those talks before it gets to a point where
Can't do it anymore.
someone it's maybe becomes toxic.
Yep. Very good.
So yeah, that's
Nice.
Thank you, Anne.
Good. Thanks,
Thank
Anne.
you, Anne.
And the red badges, you had the same scenario. What are you going to do with them?
Yes. So without kind of vertical development, we thought you could find opportunities for development in other areas. So not having such strict job descriptions, especially if there are tangible business problems that you can kind of let them sink their teeth into and come up with ideas outside of their own department potentially. Give them an agenda, give them a time frame, give them a task force, whatever, and let them kind of go at it. Then we also spoke about potentially, what else do we speak about? Remind me. Having the tough conversation as well, because especially people like this are constantly looking to kind of develop and grow, but I think they also need to understand what that means within the organization, because development can very easily mean higher salary and higher title for a lot of people.
Yes.
So I think having a very clear idea of what development means to the organization, what you can do with them to help them develop tangibly. We also mentioned potentially giving them projects or scope of their role outside of the local area where the company is based, maybe kind of global or group-wide projects. I think that's it, right?
Yep. Good.
I think
Very good.
Nice job.
Good job, thank you.
White badges, you had the top steadies. How do we expand their growth, but thinking more horizontally?
Well, we looked at a number of things, starting off with analyzing them and seeing what their interests are and where potentially we want to have progression in. We then look about, since they're supporters, they can support people in other projects, as well as potentially developing new skills, collaborating, in that aspect, seeing new perspectives, also developing new skills, and potentially as well, because they're supporters at the level they're at, they could potentially become coaches to others to help them achieve the same level.
Love that.
Very good.
Love it.
Thank you very much. Richard, what's next?
Green
Last
badges. Green, you also had top steadies expanding horizontally.
Come on, who's going to speak for the green group? No time for shyness.
Okay.
That's delegation. I'm not doing it.
So very similar to what they discussed. First of all, seeing the interests of the person, where their interests lie. So how interested are they in what areas? Then we discussed giving them opportunities. So if, say, you operate in a market, then you can give them opportunities to expand and cover other markets. Giving them the flexibility even outside of the work environment. So if they have personal interests, you could even make adjustments to their working times so that they feel more engaged that way. And then again, we covered same as they did, mentoring opportunities, coaching opportunities. So for example, if you have an employee within that team who is not performing as well or isn't up to the level you want them to be, they could mentor them, coach them, so they can expand their skills through that process as well. I think I covered everything.
Nice.
Very good. Good
Like
job.
project work as well, we said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good. Thank
Some really good feedback on this one. I think, when we were talking about outperformers without the ceiling, it's really important that we have that understanding that there's that drive and that ambition. So they could be literally applying all for anything that's a more senior job title or more money. So it is about kind of narrowing it down and putting them in a place where they're likely to succeed, because that's really what you want to do. So I love the element of coaching and really digging into that as well. And I think in this group, we also touched upon outperformers with the ceiling, because if the traditional growth opportunities are vertical career options, then if there's a ceiling, I think I'm restricted in this organization. I can only see growth as career progression. So if we can re-educate them of, no, you can still grow and learn new things, cross-functionally, collaboratively, more about the business, go on a project. You can still keep growing and developing and becoming a bigger person, but it's not always about that. So it's a re-education piece. And I love with the top steadies as well, is just understanding them a little bit better. How often do you see managers, when they get new recruits, giving the training and the mentoring to the outperformers? when actually the best person to train and mentor a new recruit is a steady Eddie, because they do everything by the book. The outperformers have found every shortcut there is on the planet, but the steady Eddies and the top steadies will teach it the way it was meant to be taught. And then if that individual happens to be an outperformer, they'll find out their own shortcuts later, but you want them to learn it the way it's supposed to be learned. So typically, we already are at a disadvantage here. Give the training of new recruits to your top steadies, to your steady Eddies. It's a really good opportunity.
Too fast. So we thought a lot about this to do with the people that we coach. And I've had a recent experience with somebody, actually. If we find somebody within an organization that's really great at their job, I mean, really, really great at their job, but there's nowhere further for them to go, how do we help them? How do we help them to grow and progress further in their career? Maybe not today, but maybe the business knows that there's going to be an opportunity in 6 or 12 months' time. So let's take this example. Somebody in product, really amazing product manager, really great product manager, but needed to understand that in order to be able to grow further in the business, there was going to be something opening up in 9 months, I think it was, but they needed to have more commercial experience, more commercial exposure. So naturally, the way that the business grew them was to make sure they were buddied up, first of all, and they were being put in front of the right meetings, so clients and understanding what needed from clients. And then they would be prepared for the move up the ladder. This has already been started. It's a breaking these teeth in somebody else. Programmatic way of going about it, kind of like you would do with a PIP, but with the intention of actually somebody that's working in this direction already. And how do we manage to do this in a sustained fashion?
Nice, good. I was lucky enough at one point in my career to work with an organization that really invested in mentoring, and we've talked a lot about this when you guys were sharing stuff. I reached a point in my own career where I had development needs and I just couldn't get to the next level. Typical outperformer, I need to get to the next level, but I didn't have the skill set to do that. I actually were development areas. And there was such a focus on my manager to help me. The unfortunate thing is my manager had exactly the same development areas that I did. So he wasn't the best person placed to do that. And when I worked at this company, it was a global organization, and they had this amazing internal mentoring program where they identified the strengths, characteristics of other people within the organization, and you were mentored, partnered up with somebody who had those strengths to help you get better at the areas that were preventing you from moving forward. So I was assigned a mentor. I lived in the UK. I was assigned a mentor in Milan, in Italy. And once every 6 weeks, I would go and spend a week with her and watch her in action. Every meeting she was in, everything she did, I was there by her side. And then after those meetings, we would go through exactly what she was doing, why she was doing it. My mind was completely blowing. And I was able then to apply for the next level of position because I'd worked on those development areas. So I think when you're looking at your internal organizations as well, is we need to stop putting so much pressure on the managers to mentor their direct employees and start looking at who do we have in the business who have particular skill sets that they can share and help other people develop in those areas, and have a mentoring program. And if you all happen to be in the same industry, how cool would it also be to start thinking about how you could expand that outside of your organization into a mentoring program from an industry perspective? It really helps to develop people. You get that one-on-one support, but it also targets specifically what you need from somebody. I want to also talk a little bit about Steady Eddies. Did you remember that I love Steady Eddies? Yeah, I really adore Steady Eddies. Steady Eddies for me, bread and butter of the whole organization. They keep everything ticking along, but they are the ones that get most forgotten about. Your underperformers demand your time because they need developing. They need support. Sometimes they need HR. Your top steadies are getting involved in things, so they're much more visible to you. And your outperformers, you do not have an option to ignore these people because they will be sending you emails. They will be knocking on your door. And sometimes they might even just stick in a calendar invite in your diary from the middle of nowhere saying, let's talk about my progression. You Steady Eddies tend to get forgotten in the absence of time. What happens with Steady Eddies though? This year, I'm a steady performer. I deliver exactly what's expected from me as the business expectations are. If you work for a business that's going through growth, next year, that business has bigger expectations. If you don't do anything with me to grow and develop me as a Steady Eddie, I'm now a developing performer. I'm exactly the same person, Exactly the same person. Still motivated, still want to come in and do my job, but you've done nothing with me over the past year, and now there's a gap because the business has grown and I didn't. So this is something we need to really pay attention to with our steady eddies, is if in order to keep your steady eddies steady, they do need growth and development, not just in skills and abilities to do the job, but the skills and ability to do the job next year and the year after. And Jenny's talking about AI as well. This is really important. We're seeing a total change. This is also important that we're exposing our steady eddies to this as well. It's hard to say with a lisp. I also wanted to quickly talk about growth mindset and fixed mindset. You obviously know a lot about these, but I will talk about them as well. Typically, you will be thinking that growth mindset people are much more vertically growth orientated, and fixed mindset might be more horizontally focused. But they're not exclusive of each other. You can actually have growth mindset with vertical and horizontal. So growth mindset, by its very nature, is just throw any challenge at me. Doesn't matter what it is, I want to jump straight in and expand my learning because I'll get knowledge and I will grow from that opportunity. Fixed mindset is, I have a certain set of skills and abilities and potential, so if you're going to throw anything at me, it needs to fit within what I'm capable of doing because I'm going to be set up for fail if it's outside of that. That's the fixed mindset. Growth mindset, you could have growth mindset, throw any challenge at me, but I'm horizontally focused. So I might be a customer service team leader, steady Eddie, or a top steady. I've got no plans for vertical progression, but I've got a growth mindset. I might be interested in looking at the stats of the customer service department, looking at how we introduce AI as a self-help model for our customers, doing resourcing and scheduling, completely outside of my comfort zone, but not career progression, career horizontal, developing myself. In the same terms, you might have somebody who's got a fixed mindset, who's very vertically orientated. I'm a customer service team leader. I want to be a customer service manager. I want to be a head of customer service. I want to be a customer service director. I want to be the chief customer officer because that's all my skill set. So I'm still fixed mindset, but I'm vertically orientated. The two terms, vertical, horizontal, growth, and fixed, are not dependent on each other. You can have cross variations of all of this. So I think one of the things that came from this group, and certainly over this group, is we need to understand the individual. What's their motivations? What growth opportunities do they want? What is their interest? What are they good at? Do they want a career progression? If they don't, it's not a bad thing. We need to encourage. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean we're not going to invest in you. Don't put yourself in that situation. Let's keep growing you horizontally.
I'm going to reinforce the point Luke's just made. It's really important to understand and differentiate when we're dealing with people individually. All of you lovely people in here, I'm guessing, most of you are HR focused. You're HR professionals, most of you. So therefore, you think much more broadly in terms of the people that you're responsible for within your organization. I'll encourage you very carefully to speak to the managers that are responsible for the teams, because managers are going a million miles an hour and don't necessarily stop to think about the individual. It's human nature, can be. So therefore, our responsibility here is to make sure that we have a word of caution about understanding that development for Kelly may be horizontal, but development for Luke may be vertical. So therefore, we tailor whatever we do in terms of our planning for them specifically to meet their strengths and their aspirations. It's important.
So there are other ways that we can empower growth, both vertically and horizontally.
And ones we're fans of, and I'm sure you are as well, is training and coaching, making sure that we come up with something that's bespoke, relevant, and is going to develop people in such a way that they feel as though they're making progress either horizontally or vertically. Team building days, we love a team building day. Yes. We love doing our work because we have so much fun with a purpose and with some output. It's a great chance for people to come together, learn from each other, and build a team. Cross-team collaboration, again, we're major exponents of this, especially when it comes to mentoring or getting people involved in different parts, different projects in the business. If we understand the strengths of the individuals, why not deploy them elsewhere? Because they're going to give them exposure and it's give them the chance to develop.
How often do you hear managers that are having one-to-ones or team meetings where they're really asking the question is, what are you working on? Can I have a status update of that piece of work? It gets even worse since COVID as we get very, very transactionally focused. If you change those conversations to, what did you learn this week? Or what do you need to learn for next week? You're already changing the whole conversation into a growth conversation. You still cover all the operational issues. You still get the information of the update you need, but you change the whole parameters of the conversation to being a growth conversation. This is a cheeky one that used to happen in another business as well. It's when somebody has an idea and we might need to go to another company in order to buy that product services in. We used to send people that had growth needs to go to tender. And they would go and meet with these suppliers. And here, the premise was you don't know what you don't know. And the best people to fill in those blanks are the people who are experts in those fields. So they go to tender. There's no commitment to buy when you go to tender. You're just asking questions and sourcing information. It's a great growth opportunity, and it means that these people come back from those meetings with so much knowledge about how to optimize things and also optimize what they're working on with no commitment. We're very shy about going to tender because we think we have to buy. You don't have to buy, but it's a great growth opportunity. Interestingly enough, they used to send them and then bring them back and get the developers just to build it the way that it was supposed to be built, but we shouldn't talk about that. Delegation as well. We obviously know a lot about delegation, but knowing the strengths of the people who work in your organization is the key to delegation. If you have a particular task or particular project that has a high business risk, you're obviously going to give it to the person who's best to deliver the results. But if you have a task or a project that has limited business risk, then give it to the people who need to develop their skill set. It's a great opportunity to expose themselves. Give them the context of the people who will help them along the way. Be supportive. You're not going like this, like I've delegated something and I'm never going to speak to you again. You're still in touch with them, so this is a great opportunity. If there's medium risk, partner the two together. How wonderful is it for me to learn about something that I need to learn about from the person who's going to show me in action? They're not going to tell me, they're going to show me in action. And here, delegation, we always talk about tasks, projects, workload, but you can also delegate authority as well. So here is if somebody's really amazing, give them parameters of what decisions they can make without having to come to you, what budget they can spend without having to come to you. Delegation is even more empowering as growth if I've actually got certain parameters that I can actually be totally autonomous without having to come to my manager all the time.
Ah, Clifton Strengths. We love Clifton Strengths. You may not know, but we're the only consultancy on the island that are accredited by Clifton for Gallup Strengths Finder. Some of you, I'm looking around the room, lovely people, do love working with you. Some of you already use Clifton Strengths with us and with your teams. We're proud to say we've carried out over 4,000 assessments and working with teams over the last, well, I've lost count of how many years. But we want to introduce you to Strengths now. So we're going to take you through to the last exercise, and Luke is going to introduce this particular part of the morning.
Right, so there are 34 strengths in the Gallup Strength Finder assessment. I can't explain all 34 to you today, but the premise of this is we all have the same 34 strengths, but in a uniquely different order, which basically individualizes us. That's not even a word, but you got it out there. You even had to lift my leg up to get it out. So it makes us think of people as unique individuals. However, these 34 strengths can be grouped into 4 main categories. There are what we call executing strengths. People who are more motivated to get shit done. They're like a workhorse. Clear this off, tick this off my things to do list, bang, bang, bang. I've got real focus on delivering on time. I might be the planner as well, executing the plan, but it's all about getting stuff done. You then have people who are more motivated to influence people, to have an impact on them. A bit like how they communicate. They might be more charismatic. They might be a bit more, dominant on stage, like, taking control of the stage. They might be really good in negotiations as well. But people who tend to want to be able to influence other people or be good at influencing other people. We then have relationship builders. I don't know why I do this, but it makes me feel better. People who are motivated by relationships with other people, understanding unique individuals, understanding how to make the relationships better, but also understanding how to get the best out of those individuals. It's much more individually focused. And then we also have people who are predominantly thinkers. who are much more strategic. They're thinking about the past, they're thinking about the future, they're coming up with creative ideas. They might be a little bit analytical, they might not be analytical at all. They're completely focused on gathering information, learning from that information, processing the information, and then presenting something out there. So we have 4 categories of strengths. You can probably see from the screen, my wonderful designer has put some badges, not badges, badges next to these categories. So what I want you to do is to think about if you had a group or just one individual who is this motivation, what would you do to expand their growth, both vertically and horizontally? So the black badges, where's black badges? You guys are processing the doers, the get shit done people. What development opportunities can we give to get shit done people? Yellows, badges, yes, and whites, yeah, good.
Like it's planned, it's planned, isn't it?
It wasn't. You guys are processing, what would we give somebody who's motivated by influencing other people as growth opportunities? What are the opportunities we could give them to really tap into those strengths? Where's the bluey purples? Bluey purples. You have those people motivated by building connections with other people and getting the best out of other people. What growth opportunities could we give those people? Reds and greens. Where's the reds? Where's the greens? Nice. You guys are talking about me, so I'm one of the strategic thinkers. What would you do if you had a group or individuals who are very focused about strategic thinking? What growth opportunities could you give those people? Nominate a spokesperson in your group. I'll leave this on the slide. The visual monster should give you an indication of what we're talking about, and we want as many ideas as possible from your groups. You've got a long time to do this exercise.
10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, 10 minutes. Lots of ideas, please. Thank you. All right, lovely people. What we're going to do is Richard's going to come around to your groups again.
Right.
Find who your spokesperson is and get the feedback. Who's speaking up? Graziella again.
So black badges are talking about what we're going to do with the doers.
Graziella.
Yes. We feel that the executing people are usually the steady eddies. So they're used to doing their own thing and they don't like interferences. So we said, I think one of the areas of improvement for them would be to challenge them, to be open to doing things differently, and as well expanding their knowledge to the team amongst them. So it's not just them executing continuously. That's one of the things. Another thing is prioritizing their tasks, because when you're an executor, you tend to, all right, I'm good at doing this, so you'll do that. And they leave the mundane tasks or the very or you can call them boring tasks till the end. So you need to help them prioritize, creating a checklist or a task list using Confluence or whatever. What else did we say? Recognition, yes, especially when they work on the areas of improvement and they start delegating, reeling in other people. You recognize when they do that. Sorry, I didn't take notes.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Up here.
Good list.
You're doing well. You're doing very well.
Nice. Good. We're moving on, Richard, to the whites and the yellows. I think white group is first.
Good job. Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
Good job. Well done, Graz.
White group are talking about what we're going to do to grow influencers.
So, because they're potentially natural at being influencers, we saw quite a few opportunities, such as being mentors, being influencers in regards to changes in the organization, influencing particular processes and procedures. Thus, they could also be good trainers in that area. We saw them as potentially good networkers, going to trade shows and networking and so forth, as well as being a presenter at a particular booth for whatever products or services.
Nice.
We also saw, obviously they may need training in those areas, so obviously providing scaffolding and training in that area. And that was about it, actually.
Very good. Thank you very much. Good job, team.
Nice.
Well done.
Yellow group. We also had the influencers with the yellows. Nice.
So for influencers, we thought that some good positions for them could be company ambassador, or else working with social media or managing, of course. We also thought that at the beginning they will start in an executing role and they could get unhappy if they feel that they cannot share their opinions or influence people. So we thought it's important to coach them and identify their interests so we can use their skills, we can make the best use of them. Also, and we also thought, like the other group, that they could be good mentors, but also it would be beneficial maybe if they also got mentored. Maybe these kinds of people would rather speak first rather than listen first, making an assumption, of course. So maybe they would also benefit from being mentored by people with other strengths.
Very good.
Love that.
Thank you very much. Good job. Relationship building next. Who's over here?
Blue Purple's relationship building. Janella.
So, on our side, for relationship builders, we believe that they make good trainers and mentors for the rest of the team or for other teams in a particular topic or whatever. So, peer-to-peer learnings as well, we said. Networking and conferences, because they can build relationships with maybe different industries and so on. Be part of the culture committee in a company and organizing events for the company or for a particular group or a team. Now, obviously, they make good leaders, we believe, because obviously they can build the relationship with their peers and their bosses and their delegates. Also, we said the buddy system, so they can either be in charge of it or part of it or help organize it.
Yep.
Building communities of practice. And I don't know anything about that because I'm not in HR. Quote unquote. Adapting communication style according to the people that you're talking to, because obviously they're good at sensing the energy and the dynamics in the room. They're the empaths of the teams, basically. And so they'll be good at moderating or at leading a conversation and help bring out the best.
I like that.
Very good. Thank you very
Nice.
much. Good job. Well done.
Nice.
First group of strategic thinkers.
What are we going to do with our thinkers?
Hi, hello. So for strategic thinkers, our discussions were around tapping into that problem-solving mindset and using it across the board in the organization, not only in their team, but in other teams. Also, think tank kind of work, in which you can sort of challenge mentally. Then there was discussions around also challenging these people into what do you need to have besides just being a strategic thinker to actually do or to implement. And yeah, using essentially that sort of mindset in other areas of the organization and helping all the areas of the organization.
Nice.
I think I'm forgetting something.
Good job.
But
Cool. Very nice. Last
Good
group
job.
of strategic thinkers, the Greens.
We also discussed quite similar matters. So obviously the problem of the strategic thinker is maybe to get things done, execute, and they might need some help with that. And some of the ideas we discussed is to kind of give them projects across the company as well to work with processes. On the other hand, we discussed that often strategic thinkers might end up in leadership, but of course they can be also at the younger, a more junior strategic thinker who then could work with processes. We discussed especially early on if they join a company, if you find a strategic thinker joining a company, they can be very good at working with onboarding processes, challenge the status quo in many ways, as that's quite natural to them. But they probably need some support to not just strategize and re-strategize, but actually stick to a strategy goes for all strategic thinkers. So,
yeah.
their direct manager or with their colleagues would be useful.
Nice.
Very good.
Good
Thank you
stuff.
very much.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Well done.
So you obviously touched on some really interesting information, and they're all valid points. And I think this is just something about going again back to the perspective of understand the individuals, have conversations with them, and understand how to tap into their growth opportunities, whether they want vertical, whether they want horizontal, whether they're fixed, or whether they're growth mindset. Typically, the way I would be thinking is if they're executors, then maybe give them opportunities to optimize processes, make things slicker, because they'll see where there's slicker things, systems, how systems could be better, and workflows could be better, and also any complex planning. Typically, I'm a strategic thinker. The idea of complex planning just terrifies me more than a horror film. But there's some people who are very good at it. So, and they might probably enjoy it as well. Does that sound weird? Enjoy complex planning? Influencers, communication with others. We've talked about this as well. Presentations tend to be a good one as well. And also negotiations. You don't have to be the expert, but they can bring this into the room and understanding how to develop that skill set even more. Expose me to it and help me to understand how to develop it. Relationship building as well. Organising team events, we talked about. This is a really good opportunity. Collaborative workflows. I think we talked about this in kind of one of the groups here is strategic thinkers. Lots going on up here, not much coming out because we've got no executors. So actually a strategic thinker needs executors in order to deliver this amazing stuff that's in the head. And the best person to bring those people together is the people with relationship building. Because if I'm that kind of person, then I might not be this kind of person. So having that bridge is also a really important thing as well. And in understanding as well how we can increase the motivation within the business. Anyone that's got people skills will be grassroots, hearing things that might be little, they might be bigger, but how we can improve things in the organization. The other thing about relationship builders is if you put two influencing people in a room, they're probably likely to keep disagreeing with each other because both of them want to be heard. The relationship building person can understand and translate those kind of conversations. So even though they might not add value to the actual conversation, they would add value to having the conversation in an effective way. Strategic thinkers, innovators. Who mentioned think tank? Yes. It's very interesting is if you've got innovative people, take them out of their channel. If they're creative people, they're creative people. So if you want ideas on a completely different business area, put that person in. It's a lot easier for the group that's actually in the room to come back from some crazy ideas that won't work to start dry with nothing. So if you're creative, stick them all around the place. They'll be throwing ideas out there that people can take and elaborate with. We talked about projects. Strategic thinkers really good at putting in regards to projects from the Rasky point of view, giving them some, maybe it's a little bit of awe, but definitely some supportive and some consultative as well. And data. Obsessed with data. Some strategic thinkers want to look at data. That we were talking in a conversation here is getting them to look at stuff and exploring it from a different perspective. Give me something juicy. Leave me alone with time to think. Not to do, give me the time to think and explore something. If you give me that time, I'm going to come back with some amazing stuff. I'll have grown from the experience, but the business grows from the same experience because I've been exposed to stuff and I've had the time to process it, utilize my strengths, and throw it back out there. Good.
Right, before you go, before the waves of applause, hold on to yourself. We've got a stall downstairs, and this year is our first year, so we have some amazing giveaways. You've got everything from getting some coaching sessions, there's even strengths finder profiling we're doing. I think you put in there a team building day. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So come downstairs and register with us, and then win something from us. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you very
time.
much.